Welcome to the show here, SEC Football Live on the 440 Sports Network. Not live today and barely SEC. That is Mitch Light of The Athletic. I am Braden Gall. Mitch, good morning, good afternoon, good night. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. My head looks twice as big as yours, and in reality, you've got an enormous noggin. So I don't like.
Dude, I wear like a 7 3/8. Like I have actually a legitimately small head.
I
Strangely enough.
yeah.
Physically, it's
Maybe at the top where the head, I don't know. We can measure our heads later. So
it's physically very small.
yes.
In my own mind, it's
yes, exactly. Are we talking ego or heads? No, just kidding.
Look, I don't do work with ego. Come on, you know that.
Okay.
Make sure you subscribe to The Athletic, of course. Pay for good journalism for all your college football needs. What we're going to do today on the show, our dream road trip. It is a thing that you and I have done for probably more than a decade, it feels like.
Yeah.
And we've done it on a previous version of this show, and now we're going to bring it here. So all you SEC fans, you're going to get a little taste of some other programs and some other games and the schedule. But there's lots of SEC flavor in here. In fact, I've got tons of SEC games on here, not because it's an SEC show, but because they're worthy of being on this list. A lot of Big 12, a lot of Big 10 as well. Maybe like a dash of ACC. So we'll see what happens on the show. So the rules of the of engagement, I'm going to explain here in a second. But however, if you are on a road trip to Nashville, make sure you go downtown and check out Tennessee Brew Works right there on Ewing Avenue. They got the Hippies and Cowboys IPA. Every piece of food in their restaurant, in their brew house, which is right there close to downtown. It's like just south of downtown near Third Man Records. It is a wonderful place to go have a meal. Every bit of their food, Mitch, has the beer in it. So the burger has the beer in it. The bun has the beer in it. The fries has the beer in it. The ketchup has the beer in it. Everything is made with Tennessee ingredients and with Tennessee Brew Works beer. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. They got live music. I was down there, had a lunch meeting last week or a couple of weeks ago, watched the England-Cape Verde match with a couple of colleagues and peers. It was a lot of fun. It's a great place to go eat lunch and have a beer. So Tennessee Brew Works, everybody. All right. So the rules of this exercise, you get to go to a game every single weekend. And how you decide what that game is completely up to the eye of the beholder. So if you think, if it's about rivalry, if it's about stadium, if it's about venue, if it's about uniforms, if it's about weather, it doesn't matter. You can decide where you want to go with whatever criteria you have. But the exercise, which by the way, Mitch, we invented on the show. I want to point this out because you have some folks that you work with that have stolen this idea from us. And other people around the web have stolen this. No one's ever thought of a dream road
we didn't
trip.
copyright it. It's not. It's fun. There's no way to prove that,
No one's ever thought of this idea
about traveling around and
no. Stu and Bruce specifically gave us credit when they did it.
Okay.
They took the road trip idea and they did it. Now other people have done it and they probably got it from them. But anyway, so here are the rules. You get to go to whatever game you want every single weekend, up to your decision. But you can only see a team one time in the year. So if you are doing, and if I'm including week 0 in this,
I include that.
If you're doing 14 games, you got to see 28 different teams. That is the rules of the exercise. We'll go back and forth, and we'll kind of talk through why we wanted to go to these matches, what we're looking forward to in the college football season, and it kind of gives us a good flow of how the season will unfold in the fall. But it's a really fun exercise. I love doing it. I spend way too much time doing it.
I spend not nearly as much time. I don't want to admit how quickly it just fell into place for me last night as I was doing this on the couch watching the All-Star games.
That's exactly when I did it too.
Yeah.
My wife was catching up on a Netflix show that I'm like 2 episodes ahead of, and I was just like, I'll do this. You just keep watching. Black Rabbit with Bateman, Jason Bateman.
I watched the first couple episodes and dropped it. It was fine. I just didn't. I don't know.
It's so good. It's so good. I like dark stuff though. It's so good. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. We'll get started here. We'll start in week 0. We'll walk all the way to week 13, and we'll have some fun here. So I'll let you go first each week. You can tell us where you're going to go. And man, I wish a group of 5 game was being played in another country.
Yeah, I'm not the best game, but you got to start week 0 in Dublin with North Carolina at TCU. I mean, hey, TCU could run them off the field again, and Belichick could resign or get fired after the game. So, there could be some excitement there, but never been to Ireland. Those games always look fun. This was a no-brainer.
So, okay, I assumed that that's the direction you were going to go. And it is obviously, I think no-brainer is a fair comparison there. And to your point, I think TCU could be interesting this year in the Big 12. I don't know if North Carolina is interesting for other than the reason you laid out, which is Bill Belichick. I put Memphis UNLV down because I didn't feel like I got any group of five love throughout the course of my schedule. And I think Memphis, while I'm not picking them to win the AAC, I'd pick Navy, but Memphis could win it. They could be the best team in that conference. UNLV is probably going to be the best team in the Mountain West. So there's a really big chance that this could determine one of the slots in the group of five playoff pecking order, right? Like if it's Boise, it's probably Boise, Navy, Memphis, UNLV, those four. And there might be some others you can mix in there. But if you've got one of these games that could decide the pecking order at the end of the year, I had to take it. And you know what? I'm going to be in Vegas.
I just got back from Vegas literally 2 days ago.
I'm aware all of you were there.
Yeah.
No, Memphis and UNLV. But I just wish it was in like Rio de Janeiro or something. So
no, there's still time. There's still time they could change the schedule.
You think so?
Probably not, but
Yeah.
Okay. My week one is probably one of the least sexy game, but I'm going to see two quarterbacks who I think are very good. UCLA at Cal. JKS at Cal is maybe the best sophomore quarterback in the country. And then I think Nico will be good as a senior. He was better than people think last year in a horrible offense, just a horrible year for UCLA. He played with toughness. He didn't complain. So I think he can be pretty good. I like that new staff at UCLA. So again, I'm not going to sit here and say this is one of my best games of the year, but I think it'll be a fun game to watch two good quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think Cal, I don't know what to make of UCLA. I think they made a good hire in the offseason, and I think Nico will be better, but I don't know what to make of them. They got a long way to go to be relevant. Cal is one of those where like I got halfway through the exercise and I was like, I feel like I should be focusing more on Cal, but that's a phrase or sentence that no one's ever said before. But the quarterback is great. So like they've
upgraded. They did well in the portal. They upgraded some. I think their skill's not bad. So
new coaches. Yeah. Like West Coast, old school. Traditional Big Ten ACC rivalry.
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Okay.
So where are you?
I am going to the Panhandle, and I'm going to go SMU at Florida State. I think that game's in Florida. I think that game's in Doak Campbell. Maybe you can clean
off to a good start where you don't know where you're going.
You can clean it up. SMU Florida State. Look, I think if you look, what I like to do is take teams that are favorites in conferences, maybe not the number one team, but teams that look like they can contend in a conference. Where are they going on the road? And I could catch a team that either I don't know about, is a big brand, is a rival, or could pull an upset. I don't know what to make of Florida State. I'm fascinated by them this year. Mike Norvell is in a lot of hot water right now. They could be better, and if they are, having SMU at home, that's a game that SMU probably needs to win if they want to contend for a playoff spot or the ACC championship. And I wanted to see both of those teams at some point. Not top of my priority list, but the only other option here for me was probably Baylor and Auburn. Clemson, LSU, you got to use LSU on another game that I think you and I will be at together probably. But there's only one game, Mitch, that started this exercise with a non-negotiable.
Oh, yeah.
Which we'll get to.
That's where I started. Yeah.
That's where I started as well. So you're in California in Tightwad Hill.
Yeah.
And I'm in the exact same place, the Panhandle of Florida.
Week two was probably my second one I wrote down was Ohio State at Texas. Just massive game. Two top five teams. I would think top five in the AP and coaches poll. And, obviously, it was an important game last year. I don't need to hype this game up much, but maybe the most important non-conference game of the year.
Okay. I have started to see some of these conversations trickle through the internet, and that is that game is just not that important. And I find the argument to be interesting because I think there are merits to both sides. I think there's, we don't need to argue your talking points on this. It could be the best two teams in America. It's clearly two top five teams in America. You got Arch at home against Ohio State with all that talent. Like, it's must-see television. You don't need to argue that much. I think the argument that it doesn't matter is more interesting, but I think there is some, like, if it's a close game within one score, even 10 points, does the outcome actually change anything throughout the course of the season. It doesn't change the Big Ten or the SEC race. And it could affect seeding in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you're still playing for buys. You're playing. I understand the argument. I don't. It's a big game.
It's a huge game.
It's an important game. I understand the argument against it, but it's a huge game.
Because I think the Oklahoma-Michigan game, which is where I'm going to Ann Arbor, I think the Oklahoma-Michigan game carries way more intrigue. I think Oklahoma. Here's my argument. You tell me what you think. I think Oklahoma is a fringe playoff team. Texas is not really, based on my personal analysis. I think Ohio State is not a fringe playoff team. They're in, and Michigan is a fringe playoff team. So these are two fringe playoff teams where this loss in the win-loss column is going to be a much bigger deal. You've got two quarterbacks in Underwood and Mateer that are just super spectacular. Michigan, I think, with under Whittingham is going to be very good.
I don't know if Underwood's super spectacular.
I think he's going to be. I think he's very super talented. Then let's go with that. And I think the storylines around both of them are really, really interesting. You got two guys that, the defensive matchup should be fantastic. I don't know. I think you could argue that this game has more. The outcome of this game has a greater impact on the season, and I think the storylines are just. I don't know. I just think the storylines are real juicy. Did I convince you at all?
Okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, and I'm not Mr. We don't need to fire off hot takes here. And I like the 12-team playoff. But basically, you're saying that Michigan and Oklahoma, two teams that are inferior to Texas and Ohio State, is a better game because of the 12-team playoff.
Well, there's also rules of the exercise where I wanted to use Texas somewhere else.
True, but that's your rationale. So it's just an interesting place we're at in college football where you're making the argument that two inferior teams playing each other is a more important game than two of the top 4 teams in the country.
Well, but I think that doesn't that happen in college basketball near the end of the season where two bubble teams are playing, and if Duke and Michigan are playing, it's not that it doesn't do anything to 1-1, 2.
I mean, you can say that in any sport, like when playoff spots are on the line. So it was just interesting. But
honestly, look at NFL final weekend where all the 1s and the 2 seeds in the NFL rest all their players, and you got Carolina versus Atlanta, and people are dying on the field trying to win the game or whatever.
It is different than when you have two of the biggest brands in football playing each other in a non-conference game. But both.
I mean, that would be
good points.
Which game are you talking about? Oklahoma, Michigan, or? I mean, you can't go wrong with either of these teams.
Yeah, true. Okay, week 3, we don't need to spend much time on it. We'll both be at LSU and Ole Miss.
I spend some time on it. It's a podcast.
Yeah. Oh, we do. Yeah. I mean, obviously, a fun game. Anyway, it's an underrated rivalry. This schools hate each other. I'd say from the Ole Miss hates LSU a lot more than LSU hates Ole Miss. But
even more now.
Right. Then you throw in the whole Kiffin thing and the game. It's great timing. The game's in Oxford and not in Baton Rouge. So it's the most hyped game of the year. Oh,
you think that happened on accident? Because remember, this is not part of the alternating series rivalry. This was the new schedule that they just so.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't think it was an accident that it got put in Oxford. This was the first game that I put on my schedule. This was the very first one. So if LSU was playing somewhere else, or if Ole Miss was playing somewhere else, that was the end of it. And there's a lot of honestly, Ole Miss has so many good games. Like
I found myself like, oh shoot, I've already picked them.
That's right. That's right. At Texas, they host Auburn. They host Georgia in a rematch of the playoff game. They go to Oklahoma. Obviously, the Egg Bowl was great. They host. Is the Louisville match? The Louisville game might be in neutral field, but either way, like they just have good games all the time. Like Missouri at Ole Miss is a good football game. Ole Miss at Vanderbilt is a really good football game. Ole Miss at Florida, like this is why I don't think they're making the playoff. to be honest with you, because I think Ole Miss has too many tough games, and I think it's asking a lot of them to remake the best season in school history without half their coaching staff, a ton of players that are gone, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm with you. I'm at the Magnolia Bowl in Oxford, Mississippi with LSU. All right, this is where it starts to get interesting. Where are you going?
Yeah, Oregon at USC, old Pac-12 shock, Pac-12 showdown. I think USC is going to be pretty good. Oregon's going to be great. One of Oregon's biggest tests of the year. So, not my best game of the year, but you can't go wrong when these two teams play.
I really got around to I have Oregon number 1 in the Big Ten. So I was kind of prioritizing Oregon as opposed to Indiana or Ohio State to some degree. And you and I have long talked about this. Like the Washington-Oregon rivalry is one of the most underrated.
I really wanted to get that one in there.
I know, and that's going back to my Ohio State Texas. I've got a very particular game I'm also not going to miss at the end of the year. But Oregon, like if you look at their games, like at USC, they play at Ohio State, they host Michigan in back-to-back games. That's going to define their season for sure. But they have other ones at Illinois, Washington at home's a rivalry. But at USC, this goes back to my point about SMU. Like I like it when favorites go on the road to hostile environments, especially the old Pac-12 element of all of this. The two West Coast teams, this feels like an old Pac-12 matchup. I'm with you. I'm at Oregon and USC.
Oh, nice.
And it's because Oregon is my top priority in the Big Ten this year. I mean, there's a really big game on November 7th, which is when Oregon, and honestly, if you look at November 7th, which we're going to look at in a second, there are like 8 or 9 like incredibly important football games. That is one of the biggest weekends, and that's when Oregon goes to Ohio State. So I used another game there, so it felt like this was the right one to use.
And I had Ohio State as my Texas as
right.
sort of a non-negotiable. So, all right.
Wait, hang on. Can I ask you? How do you feel about Oregon being my favorite of the Big Ten, the top pick? That's not. It's obviously not a hot take.
I would probably pick Ohio State, but Oregon to be right there. I mean, they're absolutely loaded. Yeah,
we're not forgetting about Indiana, by the way.
Yeah, no. Very rational take there.
Okay.
All right. October 3rd, I'm at the Jared Curtis Bowl, Vanderbilt at Georgia, which I must confess.
It's okay.
You can do it. I was looking at the schedule wrong at first, and I had Georgia at Vanderbilt in a different weekend because it plugged a nice hole for me. And then when I was almost done, I realized the game was at Georgia. I was looking at the wrong schedule, and I still needed a game for this weekend, October 3rd. So there might be better games, but originally I was going to do it so I could make the joke about staying home and not having to travel because it was at Vanderbilt. But I'll go watch the Jared Curtis Bowl. Athens is my favorite SEC town, so you can't go wrong there.
Jared Curtis start week 1 because I don't know if I don't know if I believe that.
I don't think so. My guess would be no.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll play. He'll definitely play, and he might be starting by week 3. But if you believe Clark Lee, it's a legit competition to start the season.
I have been told that there is the learning curve in the SEC will be steep for Curtis, which is normal for most players. But he's not this right out of the box, like plug and play first time kind of guy. Like it's gonna take a little bit of time for him to get in there. It doesn't mean he's not supremely talented and worthy of being there. And of course, if you listen to this show and you're an SEC fan, you probably know that Jared Curtis was, of course, committed to the Georgia Bulldogs. Okay, before I get into my pick here, because this is the alma mater week of the show, as it turns out, Yazoo Brewing Company up in Madison. If you're in town and you're visiting, and you're taking a road trip, obviously we want you to swing by Tennessee Brew Works, but please check out Yazoo Brewing Company up in Madison. It is the original, like, mainstream craft beer. They got the entire industry going. Linus Hall is one of the best guys in this business, and he has been an asset for every other brewery that has come up in Nashville. So if you care about local good craft award-winning beer, make sure you check out Yazoo. It's up on the river. You can take the dogs and the kids. They got Grill Shack burgers up there. You can sit on a bench, watch the river float by, and drink a Dos Perros. It's a great place to go hang, especially on a Friday afternoon. They got the new drop-down screen, so you can watch football coming up this season as well. So check out Yazoo. I'm in Knoxville for the alma mater, Mitch. I'm going to watch Auburn. Alex Golish return home to face his former boss, Josh Heupel. I wanted to see Tennessee, but I didn't prioritize it. I just wanted to see the alma mater. And if you look at Tennessee also has a ton of big games here. I mean, Texas at Tennessee is really interesting. I don't think the UTs don't play very often. They got LSU at home. They go to A&M, to South Carolina, Bama. Like, there's a lot of big games on.
I've got the Vols later in the year, so
on Tennessee's schedule. Well, and I want to say, I actually think Auburn's a very intriguing team with Byron Brown. I think, you know this, Clark Lee imported an offense from New Mexico State. And I think, Alex Golish, Byram, and all those other transfers that played at South Florida, I think you can import it for 1 or 2 years. I think we've seen that. The question is more the afterward, but like, I think Brown's going to be very good for Auburn. He's a big dude. He can play in the SEC. We've seen him play against high-level competition, like they beat Florida. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think they can have a winning record for the first time.
I think their
in years.
offensive floor is very high. I don't know how high their ceiling is, but I'd be shocked if they stink offensively. Like
I think that's probably the right way to explain it. Okay,
All
we're
right.
gonna be in different places in October 10th, week 6. Where are you going?
The leaves are starting to change. I'm going to West Point to watch Tulane versus Army, one of the best places to watch a football game in the country.
Do either of these two teams? I know Tulane and James Madison made it to the playoff last year, but I don't think either of these two teams have a chance to make a run. You just wanted to go to West Point.
Yes, wanted to go to West Point. I went once in college. It was great. October, it's really scenic. It's very cool. So, and it was my only G5 game. G6 game.
What was the game? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, I was sports editor of the school paper, The Hustler, and I went. Vanderbilt played Army my sophomore year or junior year. So
okay, very cool, very cool.
It was awesome.
No, I hear amazing things about the walk-in and the whole deal. So that it's like one of the best places to go. All right, well, this is one of those weeks where this is sort of.
You're not happy about this pick. I can tell.
No.
You're trying to explain it. You're making excuses already.
No, it's what it does is I like when you do something like you did, and I'm going to do something like I did, which shows you the differences in how you execute this exercise, which is what I love about it. It's why it's so fun to me, because you could pick Tulane Army, and for any number of reasons, and you got conference game there, great place, October, like the whole deal. That's a different reason to pick a match and pick a game than what I picked, which is the polar opposite end of the spectrum, which is Georgia at Bama.
And I had that down initially.
I don't feel bad about my pick at all. It's just it's very clear that I had a different priority with this particular pick. And Georgia Bama was not my top game, and it was not my second game that I locked in, but it was pretty close to like 3 or 4. It's a top half of the game. Kalen DeBoer, for all of his flaws and all the Bama questions about him, the guy's 5-1 in rivals, and he's beaten Kirby Smart twice. This is a guy who plays well in this game. They're at home. I think Georgia's the better team. I think Bama wins this game, they get into the playoff. I think if they lose this game, there's a chance that they're a 9-3 team and they don't make the playoff. So I just think the juice is here, even though Georgia Bama feels a little stale to some degree. I think with the Kalen DeBoer hot seat kind of pressure talk or whatever, which I don't even know if that's justified, Mitch, I think that makes this there's a different feel here to Georgia, Alabama. It does not feel like old Georgia Bama. If that makes sense.
I agree with everything you're saying there. I had it down as one of my contingencies, moved it around a little bit, then it got bumped. I'm not saying I like Tulane Army as a better game, but it's just the way this exercise works. I slotted in there.
Well, but that's what I like about the exercise is that your answer's not wrong. My answer's not wrong. They're just they're polar opposite ends of the spectrum. Before you move on, Kalen DeBoer, hot seat talk. Fair, unfair? Where you at?
Just signed a new contract. I know that doesn't mean everything, but I think I don't know the guarantees and the buyouts and all that. I should know that off the top of my head, but I think you're at Alabama. If you haven't won a national championship in the last 2 years, you're always on the hot seat, but I don't think he's really on the hot seat because of his new contract. I guess that's my answer.
So like message board hot seat, but
yes, exactly.
but not athletic director boardroom hot seat. Yeah. Okay.
Right. You said there's no mistakes in this. There's no wrong answers. I don't know. My October 17th game might be. Not really. Arizona State at Texas Tech.
There's nothing wrong.
I wanted to get a Big 12 game in. Figure I'd go watch Brendan Swordsby play. Oh, no, sorry. Dumb joke there.
You guys were all in Vegas last.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Again, Texas Tech the favorite on paper heading in. Arizona State will be an upper echelon team in that league. There, never been to Lubbock. If I'm going to go to a Big 12 game, figure watch the best team in the league. Actually, no, I've got another Big 12 game later. So
I have 3 Big 12 games.
Okay, I've got 2.
Yeah. All right. So this was one of my other kind of with Georgia Bama. So here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with Arizona State, Texas Tech. If that game was in Tempe, I might have picked it because then Texas Tech has to go on the road and win. But if you're looking to see Texas Tech, there's not many games with the Red Raiders where you actually think they could really lose. They don't play BYU in the regular season. So it's the intrigue with the Big 12 is kind of teams 2 through 6. It's really not Texas Tech. It's 2 through 6, unless you think BYU is the best team in the conference, I guess. All right, this is the other one for me. October 17th, week 7. This is the one for me that was kind of on that Georgia Bama level of it's not my number 1 or 2 game that I picked, but it's kind of my second tier of priority. And I was looking around trying to figure out, like, where did I want to see Ohio State? Where did I want to see Indiana? And I just thought, let's just see them together in Bloomington. Let's see what that atmosphere is like for a game like this in the Big Ten. The Big 12 or the Big Ten championship game 2 years ago was just, or last year, was that last year? Last year,
yeah,
was spectacular. It was a great, one of the best football games of the year. And I'll be honest, like, I don't think Ohio State's margin is, like, I don't think they're bad enough to miss the playoff necessarily. But if they could lose twice by week 7, they could have a loss to Texas and a loss to Indiana and be sitting there with 2 losses and no margin for error. Indiana also plays a much harder schedule this year. Teams churn out of the playoff, man. Like, 8 of them. We had 8 new teams in the playoff last year. Somebody's going to miss from the Big Ten. That am I crazy to think that this game has more playoff implication than we think based on preseason rankings?
No, not at all. I mean, while Indiana's been just incredible the last 2 years, you can't make assumptions in sports that, like, they're just going to be awesome again. We think they are because Kurt Cignetti doesn't lose games, but it's not a foregone conclusion that they're just going to be incredible again. Like, Josh Hoover might not run the offense as well, So, yeah, I think that's definitely a fair take.
This game is also in the middle of a stretch here where it starts to get hard for Indiana. They go to Nebraska the week before, and they go to Michigan the week after. So you're going at Nebraska, Ohio State, at Michigan, 3 straight weeks. That could define the season. You get USC and Washington, I think, later in the year. They don't play Oregon, I don't believe. And so I just think you're right in the heart of, like, the most important stretch of football for Indiana. Ohio State, Indiana, I can't believe I'm saying this, sells itself, Mitch.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what you just said, I'll be at Indiana, Michigan the next week.
That's good. That's the old Oaken, but no, what is that?
No, I don't think it has a.
What's the rivalry?
I mean, it seems like every Big Ten game has a rivalry.
Hang on, wait for it. I'll clean it up. Utah. Is it the little brown jug? Is that right?
No,
that's Minnesota and Michigan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
keep going.
Just to defending national champs playing at Michigan. You can't go wrong watching a game at Michigan. Obviously, with Kyle Whittingham and Bryce Underwood, I'd say Michigan's on the short list of most intriguing teams in the country this year, just because of Underwood and some normalcy. That whole athletic department needs an adult in the room, and Kyle Whittingham is an adult. So we'll see what happens for the season, but that should be a fun game.
Can confirm Kyle Whittingham is, in fact, an adult. So what you're saying is Michigan is one of the most intriguing teams in the country, so therefore could be more intriguing than Ohio State, Texas, in theory.
I don't know what you're talking about. I will not backtrack on anything I said earlier.
Well, if you do a long enough podcast, you'll just contradict yourself. It's fine. All right. So week number 8. So, all right. Week number 8, you got Texas, Alabama. Sorry, A&M, Alabama, which is awesome football. You got LSU, Auburn, awesome football. Ole Miss at Texas, awesome football. Indiana, Michigan. Tennessee at South Carolina. Virginia Tech, Clemson. Oregon at Illinois. Loaded. I wanted to get what I thought was the 2 challengers going head-to-head, 2 really good quarterbacks, returning quarterbacks, which is new in college football to have a returning quarterback. Connor Wigman versus Devin Dampierre. Utah hosting Houston. See my guy Willie Fritz on the road. The winner has a chance to sneak into the Big 12 championship game.
No arguments here.
The loser of this game probably not going to do anything.
As you know, I've been a Willie Fritz fan since the Georgia Southern days.
Georgia Southern
does nothing but win games, and watching a game at Utah would be great. I've seen the stadium in person. I've never seen a game there. I'd love to go.
How many? So I don't know. Small side note here. I make my children, when we go on road trips in the summertime or whatever, I make my children stop at random football stadiums. I have a picture of my daughters, like, I don't want to say breaking in, but inside the Missouri indoor practice facility before the local media had seen it. They just had the doors open, so we just
get arrested. Yeah,
we just stood in there for a minute. Kentucky, Troy. I had a picture of them in the Marshall Stadium as well.
I've driven by that one. Yeah.
How many stadiums? I was going to say, how many stadiums have you seen on purpose but didn't go to a game?
Not as many as you would think. Utah, we were in Salt Lake City. I've driven by Ypsilanti 100 times with the in-laws. I've always wanted to go by Reinerson's, right? Whatever the stadium.
Why haven't you stopped to go? Why haven't you stopped to go look at the stadium?
It just
will you
didn't seem
please
like-
do it? Will you please do it like this month, please?
I'm literally driving to Michigan tomorrow.
I know.
so.
Will you take a picture
I don't
of
think we're
yourself
gonna be
outside?
I don't
the
think we're
stadium?
going to be in the eastern part of the state. We'll be in the southwest part of the state.
Oh, you're not going to.
I can go to Western Michigan Stadium, but I probably won't. So
why are you so negative?
I'm a negative guy just because I'm not going to go. We were driving through Idaho and we were driving through Pocatello, Idaho, and I wanted to stop and see Idaho State University, but my wife and son were not on board with that.
You're in charge.
I know.
You're Mitch. Light. Come on.
I could have gotten
drive the vehicle. Yeah.
It was a democracy. I lost 2-1.
Oh, my daughters are like, Marshall, what?
Yeah.
By the way, Huntington is an interesting town.
Yeah, right on the river.
Yeah. Everything in West Virginia is right on the river. Okay.
All right.
October 31st, Halloween night. Where are you going?
Just a classic. I think these teams have played in the past, but just two name programs: Washington at Nebraska.
Okay, tell me more. I'm going to look something up real fast. You tell me.
Okay, just Nebraska. Obviously, a little intrigue there with Matt Rule. Can he get it going on? He's obviously improved the program, but looking for that bump. Anthony Calandria might be having a great year, or Holgo might have strangled him by this point for throwing 10 interceptions, because he's kind of a feast or famine type quarterback. And then, Washington should be pretty good. Just a classic, for someone like grew up watching football in the 80s, this is just a classic game.
So I thought about going way off the board here because I'm with you. I'm at Washington and Nebraska. I really wanted to see Washington. I love that program in general, and I wanted to see Washington, so I couldn't figure out a way to see them. I want to see Williams. I want to see what they're doing. And I just thought a road trip, like a great uniform game. If Nebraska wears their traditional red and Washington wears their traditional gold and white, it will be a very good uniform game. It'd be even better, frankly, out in Seattle, but whatever. But Lincoln is one of the best places to watch a game, and Washington is going to be really interesting. And frankly, I think one of these two teams could surprise this year. So, but here's what I looked at first, though. Wisconsin is on the road at Iowa. The two best, and Ohio is off. I'm assuming Ohio, the Bobcats, is off because it's Halloween. And if you know, two of the best Halloween parties in the entire world on the Saturday that Halloween actually falls on, I thought I'd love to be in the crowd at Ohio or Wisconsin because Madison and Athens have these enormous Halloween parties. And being in the crowd with all the students dressed up like total lunatics would be hilarious, amazing, and fun. But neither of them is playing. And
I'm sure Ohio's just got some action going on.
That's possible, but also I imagine they don't have a game scheduled that day because it's Halloween and they have an enormous party.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them. But Wisconsin's not playing, so I went with Washington at Nebraska. Quickly before we move on, East Nashville Beer Works. Great, proud, and amazing sponsor, local craft beer. They have an East Nashville location with pizza and their own THC and a liquor license. So they sell more than just beer, but the beer's amazing. The pizza's great. They got the drop-down screen outside. They got the playground for kids. They got the dog park, the whole deal. East Nashville Beer Works right there off Trinity Lane in East Nashville, very close to downtown, not even 5 minutes from downtown. Then if you're outside of the city, out in really far East Nashville, out by Wilson County, next to, of course, in between Lebanon and Mount Juliet, right off 109. It's about 30 minutes from downtown. They have a cathedral to local craft beer, a putting green, a dog park, a projection screen, a playground, an adults-only patio upstairs. They got all kinds of food, great local beer. Check out East Nashville Beer Works. I drink the East Bank, which is their Citra IPA. It's great. They also have a great honey blonde. They got lots of really good stuff. Really easy drinking, southern, crushable summer beers at East Nashville Beer Works. Check them out. All right, week number 10, November 7th. Where are you going?
Probably same place you are, Miami at Notre Dame. It was
a
very impactful game last year. Obviously, one of the big games this year. I mentioned growing up watching football in the 80s and the 90s, Miami, Notre Dame. It's just this one sells itself.
The question is where to use Notre Dame and where to use Miami, because the easy answer is in this game. And yes, I'm with you in South Bend. I kind of wish this game was in South Beach, because I know this was part of the home and home, but I think Notre Dame's number one. I've got Notre Dame at number one in the nation. I think they're the best team. I think they have the clearest path to the playoff. So I would put Notre Dame as the 1 or the 2 seed in my list. So I don't know if like Miami's taking a step back. Notre Dame's taking a step forward, right? In theory. So you got SMU at Notre Dame.
I don't know about Miami taking a step back.
I mean, slight step back. They're not number 2 in the polls.
Yeah, but they were also number 10 before 11 in the playoff. They won some playoff games to vault them. Like I think
no one's picking them to play in the national championship game, so that's a step back.
Yeah,
I'm just saying by definition they're a slightly worse, and by definition Notre Dame appears.
I think they might be a better regular season team than last year, but we don't.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Notre Dame plays SMU at home a couple of weeks later after this game. They play at Navy the week before, which I think is a really interesting kind of sneaky game. If it wasn't a rivalry, I might circle it as an upset. They play at BYU on October 17th. That's it. Those are the 4 games. If you're going to watch Notre Dame, those are kind of your only options this year. Their schedule, no bueno.
Yeah, I agree.
From a big game
this
standpoint.
game, I just been in Notre Dame once. Would love to see it again. Just can't beat it.
What game did you see? Was it Vanderbilt?
Yeah, which was a good game. I was sideline reporter.
Like
Kyle Shermer,
18
they had a
19?
good team and went down to the wire. It was a good game.
I went to a Notre Dame Michigan game. I want to say like 2009, 2010, maybe. Remember we did that campus tour video series. Oh god, that was so funny. Miami at Notre Dame. If anybody finds the video of me doing campus tour videos from, I think we did a Vanderbilt game. I think we did Vanderbilt, South Carolina.
Yeah, Thursday night.
Okay. All right. So Miami, Notre Dame, November 7th. This is also real quickly Georgia, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Oregon, Ohio State. Bama, LSU. BYU, Utah. Oklahoma, Florida. Penn State, Washington. Texas A&M, South Carolina. Michigan, Michigan State. Louisville, Georgia Tech. This is it. Make sure you are free on November 7th.
Yeah. No, I wrote Miami Notre Dame was my second game I wrote in after LSU Ole Miss, and I just kept bumping up and do it. Like, oh, that's a good game. I can't do it. Can't do it because of this game. So
it was my number 3. It was my number 3 game of my list. Number 1 was LSU Ole Miss. Number 2 we'll get to, and number 3 was Miami Notre Dame. So
all right, week 11. This one just was might have been the last weekend I filled in, and it just slotted in perfectly because it's a good game that I wanted to see these two teams to be Tennessee at Texas A&M. So
great game.
Yeah,
great game.
We'll see how good of a game it is. It should be a good game, but like just Tennessee playing Texas A&M at either venue is you can't go wrong.
So funny story. I took my daughters. The first time they got to see a game at Neyland was Tennessee hosting A&M 3 years ago, when Joe Milton was the quarterback, and it was
hit by a football.
It was a fantastic I had to protect my daughters on a couple errant throws. We were really high up.
Well, he can
do it. Well, but what's super ironic, and I hadn't really thought about this, but her first ever game at Neyland Stadium was Texas A&M, and it's a great game. I agree with you. Every time they play, it's great. But the day she was born, we went to the hospital when she was due the day after the Alvin Kamara overtime, really famous Texas A&M Tennessee game in College Station. Now she was not born until the next day, which was her due date because she's on time. She's the on time structured one of the two. And I remember walking around the hospital at 11 o'clock at night, the night of the Texas A&M Tennessee game, watching Pac-12 After Dark. I'm sitting there watching. My wife is walking around trying to induce labor, and I'm just like, watch this David Shaw play call here. It was Stanford. It was Stanford versus Colorado or some shit like that. I don't know. And we were walking around, and the doctors were going to send us home, and we were like, no, we're going into labor here. So we ended up having my oldest daughter, and then she goes to a Texas A&M Tennessee game.
Perfect.
Her first Neyland Stadium trip. So I'm going very different location. I wanted to see Texas Tech.
Okay.
I wanted to see the Oklahoma State is taking the Clark Lee and the Alex Golish theory even more seriously.
Yes.
I think they have 89 new players, something like that.
87. We wrote a story. I think they tied Deion's rebuild at Colorado for the most new players.
So 87 new players. Eric Moore's first year, a new coach has coached in Stillwater in forever. It feels more than, I think it's 20 years. Gundy's first year was early 2000s. So we got a new coach. The quarterback is going to be great. The atmosphere is great. By this time of the year, they could be a pretty good football team, relatively speaking. This is one of those where Texas Tech doesn't have a whole lot. You look at Texas Tech, like all of their big games generally are at home. They host Arizona, they host West Virginia, they host Arizona State, they host Houston. Their road trips are not that scary. At Baylor, at Colorado, at Cincinnati, I think. Their road trips aren't scary. I think the one they could lose is Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to Stillwater. I'm going to, no tortillas, but definitely paddles. And we'll go Texas Tech at Oklahoma State in week number 11, November 14th. All right, 21st. Where are you going?
Okay, I've cheated. En route to my game on the 21st, I'm stopping in, I think, Amherst, Massachusetts for Wednesday night to watch Akron at UMass.
Bonus round.
It's a slight detour from College Station to my real Week 12 game, which is Houston at West Virginia. I'm going to bundle up. It's going to be freezing in Morgantown late November, but would love to see a game there. So Houston, West Virginia. I don't think West Virginia is going to be very good. Houston could be still in the playoff hunt, so could be a big game for them.
For those SEC fans that do not know, Rich Rodriguez is coaching at West Virginia.
Yes.
Houston, this could be one of the crazier weather dichotomies of the Big 12.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know it gets cold at BYU and Utah, but West Virginia, it can get real cold.
Yeah. Hopefully my guy, are you a Charles Wesley Godwin fan?
Sure.
Yeah, he's a big West Virginia fan. I can hang out with him if he's home. Okay. He's probably on tour. He's always on tour.
Okay.
But did you know he's a huge West Virginia fan?
I did. I don't think I knew that actually.
Oh yeah, follow him on Twitter. He tweet like West Virginia baseball. He tweets about West Virginia. He's like legit hardcore fan. He addressed the team in a football team in a preseason practice a couple years ago.
Okay. You never know about these guys.
Yeah. No, he went to school there. He's big time.
Okay. I like that. I'm staying in the Big 12 with you, but I'm going to see. There's a chance these are the best two quarterbacks in the conference in the Big 12. And it may not even be close. I don't know. Connor Wigman's pretty good, I guess, and Dan Pierre's pretty good. And there's some good players, but Arizona versus Kansas State, Noah Fafita versus Avery Johnson, two guys that are going to have like 10,000 yards of offense.
Fafita was first team all conference last year. He's legit.
Yeah.
We'll see what Avery Johnson can do with under Colin Klein this year.
I think he's a perfect fit in his offense.
Yeah.
If he runs it the way he did. I just think Avery Johnson is supremely talented. He's had 2 years fully starting and I think he blossoms into a star this year. But again, we're talking about guys that could have 10,000 yards of total offense before their careers are over. Fafita will get there quickly. I think he's at like 9,000 already. And so I just think this is, this was a week where everybody is already used. Texas A&M, Oklahoma already used Oklahoma. LSU, Tennessee already used both of them. Indiana and Washington is a great football game. I really like the Michael Penix Bowl.
Yes.
Indiana, Washington. That's really good. Already used both of them. Ohio State, Nebraska, used them both. SMU, Notre Dame, great. Used them both. Virginia Tech, Miami, I thought about. So here's Miami we already used, so I can't do it. But
I wanted to see James Franklin, but I couldn't squeeze him in.
I tried as well. He doesn't respond to text messages anymore. So I looked at this list, and this was kind of my filler week, and I thought I want to see some Big 12 or some ACC stuff. And it was like Pitt versus Florida State, like, okay. Oklahoma State, Arizona State, solid. Utah, TCU, old Mountain West rivalry. I just think the two best quarterbacks in the Big 12 are going to be Fafita and Johnson. So I wanted to see those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, Johnson's definitely. We've been talking about him for 4 years.
I know.
Love to see him have a good year there.
Actually deliver on it. Yeah.
All right, Week 13 for me is a rivalry game. It's one of those can't go wrong. Is it a huge game in the national landscape? Probably not. But I didn't work these two teams in elsewhere. So Auburn at Alabama.
All right. You don't really need to talk much about the Iron Bowl.
Right. There's been bigger ones, obviously.
Where was Ohio State, Michigan on your priority list?
Well, again, Ohio State, Texas was my second one in there. It was like a non-negotiable for me, so I didn't even consider it. Which has been in the past, over years of doing this, the biggest debates have been whether or not you want to see Ohio State, Michigan, or Alabama, Auburn, and what that does, how that locks you in elsewhere. So, by not having Ohio State as an option, there really weren't ton. I mean, it's rivalry week, and I could have found some good games, but this one was kind of easy for me.
Before I move on, I went back and looked at Avery Johnson's stats just to Like he's got 6,000 yards of offense and 60 touchdowns in his career. Like he's 1 good year away from being one of the more productive quarterbacks in the
he's
history
had
of
some
Kansas State football.
painful, close losses, just not getting over the hump. But he's been good. He hasn't been.
No, he hasn't delivered on his 5-star potential yet, but he's been a very productive player. My point is that I think he played as a true freshman or a redshirt freshman, and so as a junior to have a chance. And when you were one of the most productive quarterbacks in Kansas State history, there's a lot of really, really productive players. Like, I mean, you go Colin Klein, Michael Bishop, you can keep going down the list of really good, productive quarterbacks. Will Howard, right?
Yeah, well, part of Avery Johnson's problem is Kansas State kind of let Will Howard leave because they wanted to turn to Johnson, and Will Howard goes on, wins the national championship at Ohio State. So like expectations were really high for Johnson. Like nothing of his doing.
It's unfair to use what happened at Ohio State though against him, right?
But Howard was a productive quarterback obviously at Kansas State too.
Where was he at? Was he West Virginia before Kansas State? Where was he?
He was homegrown.
Okay, I thought he transferred. I thought he was one of those Dylan Gabriel types that transferred more than once. Okay,
I don't believe so.
All right, we can double check that if we have the internet around somewhere. All right, so you went to Auburn and Alabama, which I think actually, unfortunately, could define the Kalen DeBoer year, as it always does. If you get to the Iron Bowl with 2 losses, you're probably going to, be on the hot seat if you lose. You'll probably be celebrated if you win. If they go 10-2, Alabama makes the playoff, though. I think Alabama could be pretty. There could be sneaky good this year if the quarterback works out. If not, who knows? This was number 2 on my list. LSU Ole Miss was number 1. This is number 2, in part because I went to 2 or 3 of them as a kid, but also, like, I could argue that this is 3 and 4 in the country, top 5 teams in the country. It is one of the most bitter rivalries. You learn to tell jokes about the other team when you grow up in middle school in one of these 2 cities. This state, it actually just means more in this state. Texas and Texas A&M, they were 11-0. A&M was going into this match. They had a chance to win the SEC 2 years ago when they hosted Texas.
Yep.
Arch Manning got the win last year. Quinn Ewers got the win the year before. A&M, big year for A&M. At home in this game, they're 0-2 in the new rivalry. Big pressure-packed moment in College Station, and that place will be absolutely bananas if both of these teams are playing to get into the SEC championship game, which I think they could be.
Yeah, would have been the top of my list if not for the Oklahoma-Texas game. You could argue that I should have cut the Oklahoma-Texas game and could have slotted in like 3 other games that were really, really, really good by going Oklahoma. And I say Oklahoma by going Ohio State, Texas. I blocked
it. Yeah.
But
is there any team that you're most devastated about missing? What team? So I did not. I don't think you saw BYU. I did not. I don't think I did not see BYU. That's probably the highest rated team I did not see. So BYU and Louisville are probably the 2 that I'm most upset with not seeing. Florida. Lenore Sellers in South Carolina. I miss them. I miss those 4, which are 4 really, really good teams that I think I'm bummed about missing.
Yeah, no, I mean, Florida, just because going to Florida State, going to Florida, a game at Florida is always cool. I don't have like the rankings in front of me, but yeah, I don't think so. We always usually have a list like who's the highest ranked team.
Penned State? Did you?
I didn't have Penn State.
Man,
they were on
wild.
a couple. They were on a couple. Contingency lists for me.
So they USC Penn State, which was, remember that game in the Coliseum a couple years ago? That was a great football game. That's October 10th. I'm going to Bama, Georgia. You had USC already, so you couldn't have gone to that one. Tulane Army. Penn State at Michigan the following week 17. Penn State at Washington.
I would need Indiana, so the Indiana Michigan. Yeah. So
Penn State. Does Penn State miss?
Their schedule's not very difficult this year, so they don't have as many big games.
They miss Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State.
Yes.
That's
very
crazy.
Easy schedule.
They play USC at home. They're at Michigan the next week, and then a couple of weeks later in November, they go to Washington, which is also a great uniform game. Penn State and Washington. But man, they missed the 3 best teams. Missed the 3 best teams. That's wild.
Set up for a nice year 1 there. So
I think they stumbled into a really great coach. Like I think they.
Sure.
I think he was like their 8th option, and now they've got a really good, coach. I do think the SEC needs to do more boring hiring, like Matt Campbell and Kyle Whittingham. I think that's part of the SEC's problem is they take too big of risks and they flail out. and they blow up. Tennessee Brew Works, downtown, East Nashville Beer Works on the east side, and Yazoo Brewing Company in Madison. 3 great and amazing local breweries that take care of all of your beverage needs, support good local craft beer. If you're visiting Nashville, please check out one of those locations. They're amazing. You can get those beers retailed all across the state as well. So if you're listening anywhere in the state of Tennessee, please go purchase some good local craft beer from one of these 3 breweries. Support good local businesses in a time where local businesses need your support. So make sure you do that at one of those 3 places. Pay for good journalism at The Athletic. Make sure you go there. You can hang out there. What else? What's going on with the 90s here, Mitch?
We're done with it. We had a big 90s blitz. We call them blitz. We're just series of stories looking back, all different fun things about the 90s, uniforms, matchups, ranking coaches, and all that stuff. So that was a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks college basketball and college football. So now we're kind of knee deep in planning and prepping for preseason content. Next week we have our on Tuesday we have our quarterback tiers rankings. We rank all 138 starting quarterbacks, and it's really those guys. Our guys did a great job. Watched a ton of film and talked to a ton of coaches and personnel people. So it's kind of an informed ranking combination of their own eyes and talking to people.
Can you give me like some of the maybe SEC names that stood out to you that are ranked way lower or way higher than you expected? Was there anybody?
Arch will be controversial again where he's ranked, but
so not number 1.
He's definitely not number 1.
Okay.
But I don't want to,
No, but I'm saying is like, is there a guy like, so for example, Byron Brown is a guy that I don't think people think is one of the top 4, 5, or 6 guys in the SEC, but he's a guy that I think should be in that conversation. So I'm just curious if there's a name that after doing the exercise, you guys realize, oh, the coaching staffs or the personnel in the game really like this guy more than we expected. So he's 35th instead of 75th, or I'm making that up, but like,
yeah, I'm
or worse. Maybe some guy's way worse than people thought.
Yeah, I think that's a good question.
Nobody stands out though. It sounds.
Yeah,
like.
I'm scrolling. I think Jaden Maeva is pretty high based on what Drew Messnamaker is pretty high based on maybe what the common fan or the average fan who doesn't focus on.
That sounds right.
CJ Bailey's a guy at NC State that evaluators like. So yeah, it's a good it's interesting. Obviously there'll be much debate. So
I'm trying to think through like the SEC names. I do think Kamario Taylor at Mississippi State.
Yes, he's
probably needs to be much higher than people think.
He's well thought of.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. So everybody go subscribe to The Athletic. That's the kind of stuff you're going to get next week. Check that out. I do totally agree, Mitch, that ties, like I am now coming around on ties because they don't impact the playoff as much anymore in a negative way, the way it did with a 2-team playoff or a 4-team playoff. Now it's actually, I think it's a benefit, but like if 2 teams play, I don't like the 2-point conversion rule because I don't think it's real football. I'd rather you play 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
I do not like that either.
But Mitch, if 2 teams play 75 minutes of football and they are tied 30-30, that is what happened on that day. No team deserves to lose that game. They tied. You shouldn't have to change the rules of the sport.
I like overtime football in the way I would not die on that hill. Like ties would not kill me.
You'd be okay with it. Like imagine if you're 8. Like imagine Bama and Auburn, and Bama's 9-2, and like Auburn, they tie and Alabama gets in, but Auburn, the tie actually could help a team get in theory, because you don't have an extra loss, even though you played the game perfectly evenly. And some 2-point conversion, 7-on-7 style football decided who got the win and who got the loss.
I'm totally with you there. But
okay.
So.
All right. Anything else you want to throw out there?
No.
Okay.
50 minutes with Braden Gall is enough.
That's
for
not
me.
True. That's not true.
It's too much. You're right. It's too much.
It's not true. Wonder what my wife thinks after 11 years.
Way too much.
Hey, you were with me for like 11 years.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not now.
Still here. You're still here.
Yeah.
All right. Check out all those great local breweries. Check out The Athletic, and give Mitch follow Mitch all over the internet. You can follow me, of course. All the other great shows across the 440 Sports Network, covering all your best and most important sports in the state of Tennessee. For Mitch, I'm Braden. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.